anybody who wants global peace, anybody who wants to make sure that Putin is defeated in Ukraine and his tyrannical rule does not stretch further across Europe, quite frankly, should welcome this.
Yes.
It is nuclear weapons, as I said, that's kept the peace. So I think, the CND utopia of a world where there is no fighting is one we would all absolutely love to be in.
Yes.
But we're not. And somebody like Putin only respects strength, which we have not shown at some times, which is why I think he invaded Ukraine. So I think this is a good move, and those who want world peace should support it.
Now, I want to talk about the UK-US relationship, because America may be moving towards setting up nuclear weapons on British soil for the first time in 15 years. Congress has paved the way for the US Air Force with extra funds to set up new accommodation at RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk, where 110 nuclear bombs were stored 15 years ago. And Hamish de Bretton Gordon joins us, who's a bio and chemical security expert and a former British Army colonel. Hello to you, Hamish.
Hi, good evening, John.
Welcome to you, Hamish. What are you thinking about the preparations for Lakenheath to be home to a new set of nuclear weapons?
Well, I think at this particular time, it is reassuring. It's the threat of nuclear attack, nuclear war is probably, in my opinion, the highest it's ever been since the end of the Second World War. We only heard yesterday various Russian generals threatening nuclear attack. We heard the previous Prime Minister, Medvedev, also threatening nuclear attack. And from the get-go of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Putin and his cronies have threatened to use nuclear weapons. So I think that is a reflection of the state of play on the nuclear environment.
Yeah.
As you say, during the Cold War, US nuclear weapons were stationed in this country and around Europe. So I think the key thing here is that it is actually the West, the UK, French and US nuclear deterrent, nuclear weapons that have stopped nuclear war since the end of the Second World War, and I think stopped Putin using it. So at a time of global tension, this, I think, is a message to Putin that we are watching it very closely, and we're doing all we can to make sure that there is not a nuclear exchange.
Yeah, well, the global security picture certainly has changed, hasn't it? And as and when this happens, I mean, are you old enough to remember the Greenham Common demos, Hamish? The Greenham Common women, they were called, camped at Greenham Common Air Base constantly they were demonstrating against the cruise missiles, the American cruise missiles there. They were subsequently withdrawn, and that was claimed by some as a victory for the Greenham women. I think there was a wider strategic argument behind that, to be frank. But we can look forward, if that's the word, to more of that.
Well, I very much remember the Greenham Common and the Greenham women, and trying to explain it to some of the journalists on other broadsheets today who didn't was rather bizarre. But yeah, maybe we are looking to that. But anybody who wants global peace, anybody who wants to make sure that Putin is defeated in Ukraine and his tyrannical rule does not stretch further across Europe, quite frankly, should welcome this.
Yes.
It is nuclear weapons, as I said, that's kept the peace. So I think, the CND utopia of a world where there is no fighting is one we would all absolutely love to be in.
Yes.
But we're not. And somebody like Putin only respects strength, which we have not shown at some times, which is why I think he invaded Ukraine. So I think this is a good move, and those who want world peace should support it.
And let's be clear, there are bigger issues here than the possibility of demonstrations outside the airbase. I mean, one of them might be control of the weapons. The control of these weapons as and when they arrive will be American, and it may well be impossible, Hamish, to imagine nuclear weapons being deployed without agreement across NATO, but they would be under US and not British control. And what about, is this a significant question? What about addressing that question in the light of American leadership? Because it is not impossible to imagine a more erratic American leadership than we have now. And you know the person I'm thinking of in particular, but the argument holds in principle. I'm thinking about Donald Trump, but who knows who?
Yeah, I think this is a problem, a huge concern. I absolutely agree. When you have the ultimate weapon at hand, you want to make absolutely sure that the person involved in firing it is in complete control. But what I would say is that the system has worked very well since the end of the Second World War. The fact that some crazy like Putin hasn't been able to use his nuclear weapons reflects actually this is not something you can do on a whim. There is a very controlled sequence to be able to use these things. And certainly the UK, France, and the US work very closely on this. So I don't think that, whoever inhabits the White House next year will be able to use these weapons on a whim. And I think people should be reassured that they haven't been used since the end of the Second World War and have kept the peace.
Hamish de Bretton Gordon, great to talk to you. Thank you.